We begin in Eastern Europe, though, tonight. Russia's ongoing assault on Ukraine is devastating the country. Intense aerial bombardments of key cities are forcing civilians underground.
I'm on the subway now, and it's terrible. How many kids are there? I hope all this violence and cruelness ends soon.
Above ground, scenes of carnage. You're looking at footage shot today in Ukraine's second biggest city. The mayor says 20 people have been killed and at least 100 more have been wounded after days of Russian shelling. Kyiv is also facing heavy bombardment. This is Irpin, just outside of the capital. Civilian structures targeted and mounting civilian and military casualties. Yet, Ukrainians remain defiant. Among them, former Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko. Poroshenko spoke to us in an exclusive interview a bit earlier. Here's the first part of our conversation. Hi, Mr. Poroshenko. Very good of you to make the time for our program. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
You are in Kyiv, is that correct? Still in Kyiv?
I'm right in the downtown of Kyiv, and we just a few minutes ago have the air alert about the Russian bombing.
Can you describe for Canadians watching right now what it is like to hear those air raids, to be in the center of Kyiv as the Russian forces come closer?
I doubt that anybody for the 2 million cities, or even 2.8 million cities in the 21st century to be awakened by the Russian missiles, Russian cruise missiles, or Russian air bomb during the night. This is impossible just to explain what people feeling, especially ladies, especially children, and it's not possible to have as a habit. But Ukraine knows what we are fighting for. We're not only fighting for our soil. We're not only fighting for our people. We're fighting for our future. Because the only sin of Ukrainian nation is just we want to be free. We want to be a democratic country, and we want that our country return back to the European family. And I want to thank Canada. I want to appreciate that the Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau, Minister Freeland, and all the Canadian people, Canadian government, Canadian Parliament is so supportive during that time. He's one of the leaders, together with the President Biden and American Congress, one of the leaders of the pro-Ukrainian coalition in the world. And having this support, supplying the defensive weapons, we significantly increase the capacity of our army, receive the anti-tank rocket launcher, receiving the anti-aircraft rocket. They definitely help us to protect our European future. And Russia will pay a strong price for the Putin crazy idea to occupy Ukraine, because Putin plan was in just 48 hours that Ukraine will capitulate, Ukrainian government will resign, and the people will meet the Russian soldiers with the flowers. Instead of that, we met them with a Molotov cocktail, which we in Ukraine called the Bandera Smusia. Losses which Russian army and Putin have in Ukraine is unimaginable, because we now have a figures officially of our Minister of Defense that more than 6,000 Russian soldiers during 6 days, can you imagine 1,000 soldiers per day are killed because of the Russian aggression. And this is more than in Chechnya, more than in Afghanistan, more than in Syria, more than in Libya. This is just to demonstrate how strong is Ukrainian spirit to protect our land and our country. We destroyed more than 300 tanks, more than 700 armed personnel carrier, more than 60 military jet and helicopters, and many. And together with the sanctions should motivate Putin just to have one single thing. Mr. Putin, get out of Ukraine. We in Ukrainian has a much stronger words which start to be a mem. I cannot use it in the TV, but please get out of Ukraine. And this only thing will bring the peace, not only to Ukraine, but to the whole world. Instead of the attempt, as we call denationalization of Ukraine, the world should make a deputinization. And this definitely brings peace, brings stability, brings security.
Mr. Poroshenko, let me ask you about your understanding of Mr. Putin, because he certainly doesn't seem willing to leave, as you diplomatically put it just now. There are a second round of talks that are supposed to happen. Is there any scenario under which Ukrainians would offer, or Ukraine would offer, any concessions? Or is it just black and white, Putin has to leave, that's it?
Look, this is not a black and white. We are on our own land. We are in our own country. And Putin has explanation, no motivation to be here. Putin promised to leave our land. He said that the only thing is security. We are ready to have anything, because there is no more, any nation in the world who want peace more than we Ukrainians. Because we already lost more than 700 civilians. Just yesterday, it was 16 children. Day before yesterday, 14 children. And this is happening in the kindergarten, in the yards, in the houses. And this is the price Ukraine paid for the Putin aggression. I definitely not expect very much from this negotiation, because Putin go as far as we allow them to go. And with that situation, I have two requests from my own personal experience for communication with Putin during my presidency since the year 2014, when me and my team, together with Ukrainian people, create the new Ukrainian army, who now demonstrate the best quality, demonstrating that they're one of the biggest and strongest army in Europe. And with this situation, I have two conclusions. Point number one, please don't trust Putin. Nothing he promised was implemented. No one ceasefire. No one releasing of the hostages. No one joint investigation. Nothing. Please don't trust Putin. Allow them to go to stop it. And please, no compromise with the terroristic organization, because Putin now is a terroristic organization. And we can win just to be united and to be strong. And the combination of the factor, this is the strong ability of Ukrainian army, supply of defensive weapons, sanction. Please take every single day the new sanction, because Putin should have his troops would be worse than the previous. If we're talking about the SWIFT, all Russian banks should be under the prohibition. If you're talking about the prohibition of the visa for the Russian citizens, all Russians should have a visa ban, isolation. If we're talking, by the way, you want to use the cryptocurrency, and every single nation in the world should make a prohibition to use their own currency for the crypto payment in Russia. And the very important thing, it should be that Putin should understand that he do not avoid the responsibility for the war crimes against humanity in the International Criminal Court in Hague. All the combination of these factors should say, please stop. And when the Russian people should understand how big price, not Putin, but the Russian people will pay by decreasing of the living standard, by isolation and prohibition to visit other country, by big unemployment rate, but everything, they should feel and understand their personal responsibility for the fact that this is them who voting for Putin. This is who allow them to kill us Ukrainian, and with this situation, that would be possible. Other thing we can do, definitely, it help us a lot if we as a sovereign European nation, European country, can declare non-flying zone together, prohibited and protected by NATO. Because if we don't have missiles, if we don't have Russian bombs from the air, definitely our troops will, the Ukrainian troops with their Western weapons, to push Putin to leave Ukraine in a very short period of time.
That's the first part of my exclusive interview with former Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko. Russian forces are using helicopters and fighter jets to target key Ukrainian cities and infrastructure. Ukraine is pleading with NATO to impose a no-fly zone over its territories, but Western allies say it would lead to a direct confrontation with Putin's Russia. I asked former Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko about that a bit earlier. Here's the second part of our exclusive interview.
First of all, just for your information of the leader who want to avoid to attack a Russian plane. We hate the attack Russian plane. Don't allow them to go on the airspace of Ukraine. If they would be in the Russian airspace, this is their problem. But just for your information, 62 Russian plane and helicopter was already hit by Ukrainian anti-aircraft missile and by Ukrainian pilots, Ukrainian Air Force. And this is definitely what Putin not expect, because he considered that immediately when the Russian Iskander and Caliber missile destroy, as he think, the Ukrainian anti-aircraft, they would have a full power in the air. But this is just a demonstration. Those who yesterday was completely unreal, today we implemented. And just yesterday, 2 Russian very modern fighter was hit by our pilot and go down. And if we can do, why we cannot do together with the NATO? And I think this is a very positive development of the situation, that the 70 military jet, which Ukraine was given just 5 days ago, which never happened before, which would situate it on the Polish territory. And from the Polish territory, Ukrainian pilots will protect Kyiv, will protect Kharkiv, will protect many, many other cities from the Russian missiles and Russian plane. And we have no any. And if your leaders will ask you this question, I have the question in return: why you can do that in Libya? Why you can do that in any other countries? And why you cannot do in the more than 40 million, one of the biggest European country in Europe? And this is the war in Europe, and Ukrainian fighting not only for our own land, not only for the freedom, not only for democracy, not only for the Western values, but we're fighting for the security in Europe. We're here fighting for France, for Germany, for Poland, for Spain. And can you imagine, we're here fighting for Canada? And we thank Canada who assist us in this fighting. But this is Ukrainian soldiers who are dying from the Russian bullets, from the Russian missiles. This is Ukrainian civilian, Ukrainian children, Ukrainian elderly people, Ukrainian ladies who were killed directly by Putin. And this is, you, Mr. Putin, is a killer, is a maniac who killing Ukrainians. And definitely it would be responsibility for that. I have no doubt. Who knows who would be the next? Where Putin can appear the next? And that's why we together now need to stop them. And only unity of the whole world, the same way like we demonstrate unity inside the country, unity inside inside our nation. All politicians understand, and me as a 5th president of Ukraine understand, we are in one boat. And everything, including our victory, depends on our unity. And I'm very much admired that we have such a big level of trust with Canada. I just have at the end of last year, I have an opportunity to be in Halifax on Security Forum in Canada. I was very much appreciated for your hospitality, and now we need this unity to stop Putin.
Speaking of that unity, are you still armed there, and do you plan to stay in Kyiv?
Definitely, yes. I'm together with my people, and my wife is here. All my team is here. And we are now, you see that we are with the battalion of the territorial defense. And what is my arm? Yes, I have my arm in my hand, and we do our best to stop Russian soldiers as maximum as we can.
How strong do you think the resistance will remain? How long do you think Ukrainians will be able to fight off the Russians?
I can tell you that every single town, every single street, every single quarter, and every single house would be Ukrainian fortress and would be the hell for the Russian soldiers. This is the Ukrainian spirit. With this situation, I can promise you, we will never surrender.
One final question, Mr. Poroshenko.
That's why the guarantee that we will win. Truth is with us. We have a strong motivation with us. We're fighting for our land. We're fighting on our land where our mothers, fathers, all the members of our family are here. We know what for. And at the same time, Russia has no motivation to do that. And Russian soldiers is completely demoralized. And no matter what type of weapons they will have in their hands, they don't have a reason to die here. This is extremely strong motivation for Ukrainians to stop them.
Just one final question, and it involves Canada, Mr. Poroshenko. You returned to Kyiv in January facing charges of treason. I know that you say the charges have no merit, but a newspaper in Canada, the Globe and Mail, reported that prior to your return to Kyiv, both Prime Minister Trudeau and Deputy Prime Minister Freeland appealed to President Zelensky and his chief of staff to ensure that you were not arrested when you returned. They were reportedly afraid it would undermine Ukrainian national unity, of course, as Ukraine faces this threat from Russia. Are you aware of that intervention? Have you spoken to them about it? Can you confirm that reporting?
Look, we live in the, first of all, I'm very grateful for the Prime Minister Trudeau, for the Vice Prime Minister Freeland, because the whole world will understand that that was a politically motivated prosecution and many, many others. And this is discredited of Ukraine. But believe me, the world is divided for the life before 24th of February and after. And after 24th of February, we live in a completely different reality. This is no any discussion about the political flag. This is no any discussion about the political contradiction. No matter if most of the people in Ukraine support me as a leader of the opposition. Now we don't have no opposition, no government. Ukraine is united, and we united not around Zelensky and not around Poroshenko. We united in Ukraine, and we are in one boat. And I think this is the fact which surprised Putin a lot. And this is me who called to them, and I have an opportunity several times to meet with Zelensky, to coordinate our defensive activity, and this is bring to increase our defense capability a lot. We are responsible statesperson, and we are united, and we have one enemy, and the name of the enemy is Mr. Putin.
Mr. Poroshenko, thank you very much for making time for us. We wish you the best, and we really hope you stay safe.
Thank you. Thank you for informing the world about the truth from Ukraine, ruin the information, fake news from Russia. This is extremely important for the people of the world, and my very great thanks to Canadian people. This is extremely important. Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too, Mr. Poroshenko. Thank you. Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.